evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 10th meeting of the Dover School Committee, the Sherborn School Committee, the Dover-Sherborn Regional School Committee, and the Union 50 Superintendency Committee. My name is Maggie Sharon, and I call this meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. This open meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. Information on how to join remote school committee meetings and meeting agendas are posted on the Dover-Sherborn District website. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Be aware that anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Tonight, we're deliberating the important matter of hiring an interim superintendent to lead our districts during the 2021-22 school year. All three districts are very grateful for the work of our interim superintendent search team, whose members included Amanda Brown from the Sherborn School Committee, Sarah Gutierrez-Dunn from the Dover School Committee, and Maggie Sharon and Kate Potter from the region. Kate Potter served as chair of the committee and Sarah Gutierrez-Dunn as the secretary. This team has invested countless hours in the organization and communication that needed to happen in a short time period and represented us to the community with grace and professionalism. We extend our appreciation as well to our administrative assistant, Cheryl Ingersoll, who coordinated meetings, schedules, and communication with our candidates. The search team was joined by Barbara Brown, the principal of Pine Hill School, and Beth McCoy, assistant superintendent, for candidate selection, interviews, and selection of finalists. As such, they were an integral part of the work at every stage. Additionally, Ms. McCoy helped to coordinate both candidates' site visit last week. We are deeply grateful for the time, thoughtful insight, and understanding of what is needed at the district in the coming year as we work together to determine finalist candidates for this role. Interim superintendent is a unique, time-limited role whose primary purpose is to enable our districts to move forward productively while we search for a permanent superintendent. Thus, the ideal candidate may have a different skill set and experience than the person the districts seek for the permanent role. In setting forth the candidate profile for the interim superintendent, the search committee's description was: the Dover, Sherborn, and Dover-Sherborn regional school committees seek an experienced leader with exceptional collaboration and communication skills, as well as a commitment to systemic equity and whole child education to serve as interim superintendent of schools for the 2021-22 academic year. In addition to the qualities set forth above, the committees recognize the unique nature of the interim superintendent role and desire a candidate who will quickly establish rapport and build trust with all stakeholders through active listening, empathy, and openness, inspire community confidence by providing stability and continuity, demonstrate relevant experience with and support for the ongoing work of district initiatives, for example, DS-Aid, Challenge Success, and the Sustainability Task Force. Support, mentor, and bring out the best of the district's strong leadership teams. Guide the district through preparation for fall reopening and continued pandemic response, and facilitate post-COVID community healing, leveraging lessons learned to advance student learning at all times. Many thanks are extended to all the members of our educational community who worked diligently over the past weeks in order to make this process happen. Our faculty, who watched public interviews and offered feedback, our leadership team, who attended in-person meetings with each candidate last week, families and community members who watched the interviews and offered us feedback, as well as our school committee members for doing all their work, approving the candidate profile, creating interview questions, reviewing all the feedback, making reference calls, and thinking carefully about where we go from here in order to best position the districts to have a positive and productive year as we seek a permanent superintendent. Before we begin our deliberations, I'd like to review for the committees and the public the structure of our three committees in terms of how we hire a superintendent. When the districts regionalized, an organization called Superintendency Union 50 was created for the sole purpose of allowing the three districts to hire a shared superintendent. Union 50 is a legal organization that's only purpose is to hire and, if needed, fire the superintendent for the Dover and Sherborn local committees. It is comprised of the three most senior members of each of the Dover and Sherborn school committees. For clarity tonight, we will share the names of those members now. For the Sherborn committee, Angie, do you have the names of the three Union 50 members?
I do. It is myself, Angie Johnson, Amanda Christie Brown, and Megan Page.
Thank you. Leslie, do you have the names or someone else in the...
I do. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
It is myself, Leslie Leon, Mark Healy, and Sarah Gutierrez Dunn. She is now the secretary of Dover-Sherborn School Committee, so she is also Union 50.
Okay, thank you. I should have clarified. It's the most senior members, but must include the chair and the secretary. Thanks for the clarity. The superintendent is actually hired by two organizations, the Regional School Committee and Union 50 Superintendency. Later this evening, when we vote, Union 50 and the region will each vote to appoint a superintendent. Following that vote, the entire Sherborn and Dover school committees will also vote to approve the hire. This is a symbolic vote that is made to allow each member of the local districts to offer their perspective, but as a legal matter, the hiring decision is made by those members who belong to Union 50. More information about the Union 50 legal structure of our three districts can be found in the packet that will be posted with these meeting minutes. Tonight, we will begin with community comments. Community comments are an opportunity for members of our community to be heard. We respectfully request that you make your comments brief and that you move the discussion forward by adding new information. Please try to avoid repeating points that have already been made. For community comments, please virtually raise your hand and wait to be recognized by the chair. When you speak, please begin by stating your name and whether you live in Dover, Sherborn, Boston, or a member of our faculty. Community comments are an opportunity for the school committee to listen to members of the community. It is not a forum for answering questions or engaging in a debate. Once the public comment section of our meeting has been concluded, we will move on to other business, and unsolicited comments from the community will no longer be permitted. This is standard operating procedure in all three school districts. So it's time at this point, if you are a community member and you would like to make a comment on the matters here before us tonight or other matters, please raise your hand and we will watch for that and allow you to offer your thoughts. I see Rick Garrett. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Rick Guerin, 28 Valley Road. Can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
Great, thanks. I have a first grader in the Chickering School in Dover. As a parent, I emailed a question for the interim superintendent that wasn't presented last week. This is the question I would like presented to the new superintendents and candidates. In regards to state law, how do you discourage school committees and their members from tactics or processes that may indicate potential bias? I'll provide you with an example. One of the laws that relates to school committees, Mass General Law Part 1, Title 12, Chapter 71, Section 37, explains that each district is responsible for setting policy for their districts. During a joint school committee meeting on April 30th, 2019, the current superintendent made a presentation and recommendation to the three districts in regards to start time changes. His recommendation uniquely impacted the policy for each district. This presentation and recommendation should have taken place before each of the school districts individually prior to being presented jointly. Because this was presented before a joint committee meeting, parent voices from elementary districts were silenced, creating an environment of bias and prejudice in favor of the regional district. Given that the committee members would potentially oversee you and your activities as a superintendent, how would you discourage school committees and their members from tactics or processes that may indicate potential bias? Again, this is a question presented by a parent for a superintendent or candidates. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guerin. Other community comments? Anyone else can just watch the participant lists and let me know if there's any hands up or if you see hands waving. We have a couple screens. Okay, going once. Going twice. Okay. At this point, community comment section of our meeting is concluded. Now we will begin deliberations, public deliberations regarding the choice of an interim superintendent. Members will be asked to raise their hands when they have something to share and will wait to be recognized by the chair. The chair will attempt to alternate between members of each committee to allow for a variety of voices and perspectives to be heard. We ask that all members keep their comments focused on ways that one candidate or another would make a positive contribution to the district, or how their qualifications or work experience would benefit us. And remember that each of our finalists comes to us with a long history of professional experience. While we might favor one over another, we want to remain respectful of the accomplishments that have brought them to this point tonight. If it seems that there's consensus around a candidate, the chair will ask for a motion to be made by someone to nominate a candidate for appointment and authorize a subcommittee of members to enter into negotiations with said candidate for a one-year contract. This vote will be taken by the region and then turned to the Union 50 superintendency. Following that vote, a vote will be taken by each local in its entirety to allow all members to be on the record with their support of a candidate. When the body has voted to move into negotiations with a candidate, a motion will be made to appoint representatives to conduct negotiations with the selected candidate on behalf of the school committees. Once that motion is approved, a vote will be taken by each committee to move into executive session, not to return to open session. The executive session is for the purpose of conducting a strategy session to enter into contract negotiations with non-union personnel, meaning the chosen interim superintendent. Are there any questions from the members about our process tonight? Judy Miller.
Yeah, I'm not clear in terms of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
So the region votes on the superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
The members of the region are not members of Union 50. Is that correct?
Technically, there are 3 members of the region who are non-voting observing members of Union 50.
Right.
So if you look like on letterhead, you will see that the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary are non-voting members. However, since we're non-voting observers, we don't have a role in the Union 50 vote that happens later on in the evening.
Right. So
Okay.
The region votes
Correct.
on behalf of the region.
Correct.
And Union 50 votes on behalf of the 2 Dover School Committee and Sherborn School Committee.
Correct.
And what if it's a tie?
3 votes and 3 votes means the motion does not carry in the bylaws of our community. So we need to have at least 4 votes for, a motion to pass.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
No problem. Other questions? Okay. Then let's begin. If you could, please use the hand raise feature of Zoom and wait to be recognized by the chair. As long as your screens are off, it appears I can see everybody, so you are also welcome to wave, wildly if hand raising doesn't work. Who would like to begin the deliberations? Kate Potter, Regional School Committee.
Thanks, Maggie. First, I'd like to thank the interim superintendent search team for their collaborative and thorough work. I'd like to second Maggie's thanks to Beth McCoy, Dr. Brown, and Cheryl Ingersoll for their tremendous assistance. It's really been a pleasure working with everyone. While I believe that we ended up with 2 very qualified finalists, I would like to show my support for Kathleen Smith. Ms. Smith fits our interim candidate profile beautifully. Throughout both interviews that I had with Ms. Smith, she demonstrated an ability to quickly establish trust with all stakeholders, support and continue the core values and work of our district, mentor our already strong leadership team, and assist in our continued response to COVID and reopening our schools while supporting students and staff. Ms. Smith has a tremendous amount of experience working on issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and will support the work that our district is doing with DSAID. My notes from both interviews with Ms. Smith contain phrases such as reflective, honest, brave, proud and willing to go out of her comfort zone, loves teaching, not ready to be done. Ms. Smith has an impressive resume that includes budgeting, working collaboratively with her leadership team, communicating clearly with the community, placing a high priority on academic achievement, among many other things. But what stood out most to me was when she was discussing teaching the whole child and reaching every child. She said that in every decision she makes, she asks herself, what impact will this decision make on children? And you must know and value all students. That is just good teaching. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Another member of, okay, so Judy, I see you. I'm going to try and rotate a little bit. So I see Angie also. Angie, I'm going to go Angie first, and then we'll try and go around, or we'll go back to Judy if nobody else is jumping in. Okay, Angie.
Thank you, Maggie. And I too want to thank our interim search committee. I know this was some work that took a lot of time for everybody at this busy time here for you. So I was going to also move forward with Ms. Kathleen Smith. I only had the one interview that was publicly viewed by all, but what I took away from her too was the whole child. She talked about academics, but she said that we have to check in on the whole child, not just academics. And I think one thing that we've seen through COVID is there is a whole child implementation, and coming out of COVID for next year and normalizing our school year back to the way we always knew it, this is going to be an important factor to move through. One of the things that I enjoyed hearing was that she enjoys the collaborative and communicating. She says that she saw that we have great leaders in our schools, and that part of her role is to be comfortable that she is there to support those. And she was also thought it was important to have the communication, not only with those leaders, but also the school committee and the community abroad for us. So she said to do everything as a team effort and to mentor those around you. And I think that is something that is very important in our district right now. She also has come in before, where she is now midstream, and she said she had to build trust with those parents around her. So I think that is something also that we can impart from. So I would like to show support for Ms. Kathleen Smith.
Thank you, Angie. Did I have anyone from the Dover School Committee who wants to speak? And then I'll turn it over to Judy. Colleen.
Thank you. And thanks for all the work you guys have done getting us to this point. I had the benefit of speaking with a reference for Ms. Smith. I would like to speak in support of her. One of the things that struck me was how she had come into their community at the beginning of 2019 and had done a lot of really good work bringing the community together. A community that had been split apart by the departure of their former superintendent. She came in and did a lot of good work unifying, bringing the parties together. And she was seen as a convener, so someone who could bring people together. And then the pandemic hit, and I was struck by how she was able to lead through the shutdown. And she came very highly recommended as someone who could assess risk and bring in all the different parties to make decisions together, including school committee. And they did the work together and really had, unity in the community as much as was possible, moving them through it. So I thought that was really something that would benefit us. We're not finished with this work of the pandemic. We still have, there's still going to be a fair amount of this type of work facing us in the next school year. So I was struck by her, she was seen as capable and kind and warm and really investing in the community in a real way. She's also has a very good reputation throughout the Commonwealth, and she came very highly recommended from the superintendents. So I wanted to give my support for Ms. Kathleen Smith as well.
Thank you. Judy?
Thanks, Maggie. And thanks to everyone who is on the search committee for this slot. You did really great work. We were blessed that we had 2 excellent candidates. I also echo my support for Kathy Smith. I want to say that John is a great candidate, but for right now, for the year that we're facing, I think that Kathy is probably who we need. She has experience as an interim superintendent, which I think is pretty important for us. She is passionate about education, and she has experience as an adjustment counselor, which for the year that's coming up, we're going to be needing a lot of adjustment. Our kids are going to be needing a lot of, social and emotional support, well-being, and all of that. And so for this time, in addition, I think she really has a handle on the issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which are some of the most important issues facing us. But I'm really, for this time, and while we had 2 great candidates, I think she is what we need. So I just want to speak in her favor. Thank you, Maggie.
No problem. Thank you, Judy. Do I have any other members who would like to speak in favor of a candidate or add something to the discussion? Ann Hovey.
Thank you. So Judy said most of what I was going to say, so I'm going to shorten what I was thinking I was going to say and just highlight things that were different. But so thanks, Judy. I also wanted to say thank you to the search team for providing us with 2 really strong finalists. And also thank you to both finalists for taking the time to meet with us and for sharing your passion for what you do. While I'll speak tonight in favor of Kathleen Smith, the other finalist, John Doherty, would also make a fine interim for our districts. I'd also like to reiterate that the skills and experience that make a good interim are not always the same as those who would make the best permanent superintendent. The skills and experience that best fit our needs for the coming school year are unique to this period in time, as Judy mentioned. And the only other thing that I was going to add to what Judy said was that during her interview with the school committees, Dr. Smith spoke about the importance of mentoring leaders within the school community and the program she initiated to do just that within Brockton. And while I recognize that DS is a much smaller district, so the exact program may not be transferable, the focus on providing opportunities for growth within our districts is something that we're really looking for in an interim. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann. Do I have any other comments from members of the school committees? Len?
Just really quickly, just that I agree with everything everyone just said.
Okay, thank you. Yep, Mark?
Yes, and I also agree regarding both candidates being strong, but the choice of Kathleen is an excellent fit for our district next year. one brief thing I could tell from our interview that I really appreciated is she follows her curiosity with a passion, regardless of where it takes her, whether it's law school or moving across the state for a year to fill an interim position. I believe fully that she's doing this because she's inspired or intrigued or interested in, helping us address needs and things that we're curious about too.
Thanks. Other folks who'd like to weigh in? Shobha?
So I would just basically echo what everyone else said and say that I'm also in favor of Miss Smith. I think she'll be a fantastic role model for the people in the school. The fact that she went to night school and law school and she has 2 kids that she supported. I just think that her hard work, enthusiasm, and just her excitement at being at DS is just infectious. So I think she will bring a very good energy. And just looking at all the comments from the district leaders and from community, it seems like what we just echoed was also echoed there, that she is someone that everyone can work with. And I do want to say both candidates were very strong. And I think is a very tough decision. So I wanted to thank all of you for bringing us these strong candidates.
Thanks. I'm wondering if it's possible to hear from any other members of the local school committees before we put forth any motions on kind of where you're leading or where your thoughts are. Yep, Dennis.
Thanks, Maggie. I would echo all of the sentiments that have been sort of discussed so far. The one point that I would add in support of Kathy is the point that she made around interacting and collaborating with the school committees and all of them, recognizing that there's a little bit of a different structure from an administrative perspective here in the region, and recognizing that there's a fair bit of transition that's happening, both because of what's going on in the community, but also dealing with the transition of the superintendent position. Not assuming that she has all the answers and working collaboratively with the entirety of the community to try to figure out what is the best solution on an interim basis, and doing that hard work to do a lot of the fact finding to get a lot of the pieces of information and data necessary to make those decisions. So I think that shone through in the discussion we had with her last week.
Liz?
For the sake of not being repetitive, I'm with all of you. I walked away feeling like she would definitely be a great team player, which I think is obviously essential. And that there really is no situation that she would shy away from, that, like, if given a challenge, she'd be ready to roll up her sleeves and dive in. And I think that's exactly what we would hope, regardless of whether you are the superintendent or you are a interim superintendent.
Thanks, Liz. Any other feedback? I do want to add this, and I want to speak specifically to the folks who are on the call or folks who might want to watch this later on. One of the concerns that was brought to the table by constituents is the worry about Ms. Smith around the fact that, where she spent 4 decades of her career at Brockton High School, isn't a school like DS. And I really think about us and, what do we need and what kind of person is the best match for us. And I also support, I loved both candidates. I really wish that we could hire everyone in this situation, but I really do agree with all the things that have been said tonight around why Kathy Smith is the right person for us at the right time. But it led me to do a little bit of research, and specifically about Brockton High School up through the time when Kathy retired from Brockton before 2020. And I think at that time they had to make some very, very painful and massive cuts to their school district. And I have not kept up with what happened after as a result of those cuts. But it looks like it was very painful. But up until then, the report of Brockton High School in 2018 is really, really interesting. It was the largest public high school in the entire Commonwealth with 4,175 students. It remained a national model of urban excellence. They sent through almost 300 students out of Brockton High School with John and Abigail Adams scholarships. They were recognized by the International Center for Leadership and Education as sustained model of excellence and were highlighted at the National Model Schools Conference. It reminded me, I actually had an opportunity that year to go to that conference. It's in Orlando, Florida. Bill Daggett is a pretty big guy in the world of futures education. He's sort of the inventor of the rigor and relevance model. And is a pretty big name. And I remembered I had actually met Ms. Smith and gone to that seminar on how to be excellent in an urban thing. Brockton High School was one of the best high schools in the US News and World Report. They appeared on that list 6 times since 2009. They were one of the Newsweek magazine's top 500 high schools. In terms of being able to serve the needs of low-income students. They were a member of the College Board's Gaston-Caperton Opportunity Honor Roll for expanding opportunities and access to traditionally underrepresented students. And, it could go on and on. They had a full, or at the time in 2018, had a full slate of expanded AP courses and also ran an international baccalaureate program, which is another really highly respected and high caliber educational curriculum. And they had a pretty robust dual enrollment program, which allowed students and families to actually have kids on college credit if they were prepared. So I just wanted to assure community members who are worried, I don't know about Brockton. This is a candidate whose eyes are on excellence for every single student and who does not set lower expectations for kids who might not come from the same level of, privilege or socioeconomic benefit that many of our, but not all of our students have. And so that research really led me to feel pretty confident that Kathy has what it takes to ensure that our district moves forward and is able to sustain and even grow the excellent programs that we have, most rigorous programs, most excellent programs. I also, like Colleen, had an opportunity to speak to one of Ms. Smith's references. And she was a longtime school committee member and had been the vice chair of the school committee during the year when Kathleen joined the district. She described in detail a very, very painful series of events that led to them needing an interim superintendent and was very specific about the ways in which Kathy went right into the job, creating connections, building trust. She acknowledged Kathleen's a chatter. And she also said that she was able to take feedback, hey, we need this meeting to have a hard stop at 90 minutes. And that even though she heard her talk a lot, which was something that, many of us who heard her that night, she's chatty, me too, I get it, that she doesn't have an ego about it. And that she is also an excellent listener. And that going back over the year, she was astonished at the degree to which she heard every piece of feedback that was offered to her in her entry plan and actually was able to pull details out and use those things in powerful ways. When I kind of set forth for her, kind of what the situation we were in, she said, I only have one word for you. I mean, she's perfect. I don't even know what else to say. And, just a wonderful human being as well. So, reading the feedback from the faculty, reading letters from the community members, obviously, everybody has different perspective on it, but I heard a lot of that same thing, and I feel pretty confident that she's the right way to go. I am inclined to move forward with some motions at this time based on the feedback that I am hearing. Is there anyone who would like to say something before we move forward with some motions? Okay, in that case, what? Do I have a motion from a member of the Regional School Committee to offer the position of interim superintendent of the Dover-Sherborn Public Schools for the 2021-22 school year to Ms. Kathleen Smith and to authorize entering into contract negotiations regarding the same?
So moved, Judy Miller.
Motion made by Judy Miller. Do I have a second?
Lynn Collins, second.
Okay, seconded by Lynn Collins. Do I have any discussion? Okay, in that case, we're going to take a roll call vote. Judy Miller,
Judy Miller, yes.
Lynn Collins,
Lynn Collins, yes.
Kate Potter,
Kate Potter, yes.
Shobha Fry,
Shobha Fry, yes.
Ann Hovey,
Ann Hovey, yes.
and Maggie Sharon, yes. Motion passes. Now I'm going to turn over to, I believe it's Angie Johnson that's going to serve as the chair of Union 50 this evening, or Leslie, are you available?
I can do it, or Angie, either one.
It's fine. I can do it, Leslie, unless you can see. If you can see, you go ahead and do it.
I can do it. Okay, do I have a motion from a member of the Union 50 Superintendency to offer the position of interim superintendent of the Dover-Sherborn Public Schools for the 2021-22 school year to Miss Kathleen Smith, and to authorize entering into contract negotiations regarding the same?
Mark Keeley? Yep, so moved.
Sarah Gutierrez done.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Or now I take a poll of the Union 50. Sarah Gutierrez done, go ahead.
Sarah Gutierrez done, yes.
Mark Healy,
Mark Keeley, yes.
Angie Johnson.
Angie Johnson, yes.
I'm sorry, Angie, who are your other two members? I think
Megan
Page.
and Amanda.
Megan Page
Megan Page, yes.
and Amanda Potter.
Amanda Brown.
I'm sorry, God, Amanda Brown. Sorry, I'm driving. I'm sorry.
No worries. Amanda Brown, yes.
And Leslie Leon, yes.
Okay, terrific. At this time, I would like to also ask the other members of the Dover and the Sherborn school committees to have an opportunity to take a vote on this matter for the purpose of ensuring that your voice has also been heard. For Dover, Leslie, that would be polling Colleen and also Liz.
Just the two of them, or all of Dover
You
again?
you can poll everybody as well if you'd like.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead with the motion again.
Mhm.
Do I have a motion from a member of the Dover School Committee to offer the position of interim superintendent of the Dover-Sherborn Public Schools for 2021-22 school year to Kathleen Smith, and authorize entering into contract negotiations regarding the same?
Colleen Burt, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Liz Grossman, second.
Okay. Sarah Gutierrez, I will take the poll now. So I will just take Liz Grossman.
Yes, Liz Grossman. Yeah.
Colleen Burt.
Colleen Burt, yes.
Sarah Gutierrez Dunn.
Yes.
Mark Healy.
Mark Keeley, yes.
And Leslie Leon, yes.
Fantastic. Angie, can you do the same for Sherborn?
Yes, Sherborn, do I have a motion to offer the interim contract position to Kathleen Smith for the Dover-Sherborn school system for the 2021-2022 school year? Do I have a motion to go forward and offer that and to enter into contract negotiations?
Nancy Cordell, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Amanda Brown, second.
Dennis, do you have a second? I think Dennis, did you second?
Yeah, Dennis Quan, second.
Great. Do I have any discussions? All right, hearing none, I'm going to poll. Amanda? Wait, you're
Amanda Brown, yeah. Amanda Brown, yes.
Megan?
Megan Page, yes.
Nancy?
Nancy Cordell, yes.
Dennis?
Dennis Quan, yes.
And Angie Johnson, yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much to the members of all of our 3 school committees, as well as to the administrators and leadership team members who all offered us feedback on the candidates, and to the public who watched, who participated, and also gave us feedback on this process. We very much appreciate everyone's time, energy, and thoughtful participation. Now, we must make a motion to authorize representatives from the Regional School Committee and Union 50 to negotiate a contract with Kathleen Smith on behalf of the school committees, based on the terms that will be determined during our strategy session. So, representing the region, do I have a motion to appoint for the chair to appoint 2 regional school committee representatives to negotiate a contract with Kathleen Smith on behalf of the school committees, based on the terms determined during our strategy session. My intention is to appoint Lynn Collins and Kate Potter to that role, such as they represent our negotiations subcommittee.
So moved, Ann Hovey.
Thank you, Ann. Do I have a second?
So, second, Shobha Fry.
Thank you. If you can take yourselves off mute, regional members. Lynn Collins,
And Collins, yes.
Kate Potter,
Kate Potter, yes.
Ann Hovey,
Ann Hovey, yes.
Shobha Fry,
Shobha Fry, yes.
Judy Miller,
Judy Miller, yes.
and Maggie Sharon. Now from Union 50, if I could have someone from Union 50 take a motion to appoint 2 Union 50 representatives to negotiate a contract with Kathleen Smith on behalf of the school committee based on the terms that will be determined during our strategy session.
I'm happy to take that motion. It's not going to be as clean as
You don't
that.
have to repeat it. You can just say that motion.
Great. Can we have a motion to exactly what Maggie just did for Union 50 members? I would like to appoint Mark Healy and Angie Johnson. Is this sufficient, Maggie?
I believe so.
So moved. Sarah Gutierrez Dunn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Amanda Brown, second.
Thank you. And then do I poll just the Union 50 members, Maggie?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Please, Union 50 members, take yourselves off mute. Angie Johnson,
Angie Johnson, yes.
Megan Page,
Megan Page, yes.
Amanda Brown,
Amanda Brown, yes.
Mark Healy,
Mark Healy, yes.
Sarah Gutierrez Dunn,
Sarah Gutierrez Dunn, yes.
and Leslie Leon, yes.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's going to enter into the negotiations. Thank you.
We very much appreciate your work. We will now need to poll to enter executive session, not to return to open session. And thank you everyone who's joined us here tonight for your participation here tonight, and ask that you leave the Zoom when we have concluded. We're polling to adjourn into executive session at 7:14 p.m. I will start with the regional members. If you could take yourself off mute. I would like to entertain a motion for us to enter into executive session for the purpose of conducting strategy with regard to non-union personnel, not to return to open session.
And Collins, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Shobha Fry, second.
Ann Hovey,
And yes.
Judy Miller,
Judy Miller, yes.
Shobha Fry,
Shobha Fry, yes.
Lynn Collins,
And Collins, yes.
Kate Potter,
Kate Potter, yes.
and Maggie Sharon, yes. The meeting is adjourned. Angie, you want to take care of that for Sherborn?
Yes, Sherborn, the same motion, to poll to go into executive session, not to return to open session. If you'll, do I have a motion?
Megan Page, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Amanda Brown, second.
Thank you. Everybody take yourself off mute. Nancy,
Nancy Cordell, yes.
Dennis,
Dennis Quant, yes.
Amanda,
Amanda Brown, yes.
Megan,
Megan Page, yes.
and Angie Johnson, yes.
Great.
Dover School Committee members, please take yourself off mute. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session as stated by Maggie Sharon?
So moved. Sarah Gutierrez Dunn.
Do I have a second?
Colleen Burt, second.
All those in favor, Liz Grossman,
Liz Grossman, yes.
Colleen Burt,
Colleen Burt, yes.
Sarah Gutierrez Dunn,
Sarah Gutierrez Dunn, yes.
Mark Healy,
Mark Healy, yes.
Leslie Leon, yes.
So at this point, we just ask those who are not members of the 3 school committees to please leave the Zoom, and then we can conduct our negotiations.